I firmly believe this, and no disrespect to any of the other athletes at Masters World's Strongest Man. I firmly believe that the last 2 years I've committed myself more and I've trained harder and smarter than everybody else that was there. And I don't think many of those guys would disagree with me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just, this is what I am, and this is where I'm at. But I can't imagine doing anything else. I can't imagine halfway doing it. You know, I think that's the thrill, doing everything you possibly can. Turn every single key that you possibly can. I think that's the excitement.
Yeah, you being an old meathead, I guess is what I would call it. When you're a lifetime meathead, 20 years competing, there's no halfway doing it. It's you're doing it, or you're helping other people do it, and then you're not doing it anymore. There is no.
It's not fun to halfway do it.
You can't. You personally, mentally can't.
No.
It's either, you do it until you can't do it anymore, and you'll know when that is. I mean, it's not like it's gonna, be this big decision that you have to make. It's gonna be like, fuck, that's it. And as long, like a philosophy that I try to always keep was to never look back and say, what if, because that would drive me nuts for the rest of my life. So I wanted to make sure when I went into Westside, that was the philosophy that I had going in, because to me, I was kind of retired before that because it just wasn't working. I wasn't getting better. I wasn't getting stronger. Then it became more a matter of, what if, what if I didn't go, I started asking that, well, what if I don't do this and I don't find out? Then to go there and basically disrespect and not listen to Louis for about a year, was kind of contradicting my own philosophy, which kicked myself in the teeth later on when I started thinking about it. Because, like, why am I here if I'm not going to actually do, what I'm being told to do? Because if I get thrown out of here, which was a strong possibility, then I'm going to be asking myself, what if I would have just tried what he said? And
I think everyone owes it to themselves to live 100% the life of whatever sport they want to do.
Yeah.
And if you want to be, a strongman or a power lifter, I think at some point in your life you need to drop everything. And I mean everything. You need to drop your job. You need to drop, whether it's, if you're a young guy, sacrifice relationships and sacrifice having a family, sacrifice money. I know a lot of strongmen through Europe that work controversial jobs, selling controversial products, just to make money. Work as a doorman at a bar. That way you have all day to train. Spend every cent that you have. Live in a hole with 5 other guys, or alone, whatever suits you, and just do that. Because chances are, after a year or after 6 months, you're going to say, this is not for me. 100% this is not for me. And then you can walk away, and give yourself 2 years. And if at 2 years, you're going to see amazing progress, and you're either going to say, this is what I need to be doing, or you're going to say, I gave it everything that I had and I can walk away. Yeah,
the only thing I would disagree with that is I think half the people today coming into any of the strength sports are doing it more as a hobby.
And that's fine.
So that this wouldn't really apply there. But for those people who are doing it to really see if they can, what their best can really be, I do think they have to put it as a very high priority. Maybe not first, but I did, so I'm a hypocrite to be able to say, don't put it as your first. All I can do is look back and say, I have some regrets from putting it as my first, that I think if it wasn't my first, I could have been better because I would have had more support from the people around me to be able to help me if they weren't excluded,
right.
From that. My wife, kids, stuff like that, putting it above there. But still, that mindset, it's a locked-in mindset. I don't know if I would know how to even add a cart, add a, it's like a train. Mm-hmm. It's like a fucking
right,
just barreling train. I don't even know if I could have put another car on it, so like to add my wife and my kids, like adding 3 more cars on a fucking train that's already going, as fast as it can, that, it's, so that's the advice I give the younger people is, keep it up there as a high priority. Make sure it's you're doing everything that you can so you don't look back and say what if, but don't do it at the expense, of certain things that are also very important in your life that could help you.
Well, but like I look at my training partner, he just turned 30 the other day, and he's got the injuries of like a 22-year-old, which is basically nothing. He's got the mindset of everything is fresh, but he's 6'6". When I met him, he weighed 120, so 265. He competed his last contest in the UK a couple of months ago, weighed 441. So it took him a year and a half to go drug-free from 265 to 441. He's just a giant. He's athletic. He can run. He can jump. It's insane amount of strength as well. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, you've got to go. You've got to get everything. You've got to go all in. You need to sacrifice, right? You've got so much talent that it's a waste if you don't give it everything. You're not in a marriage. You don't have kids. Financially, you're okay. You're never going to be rich, but you're okay. I'm going to be really disappointed if you don't give it everything. And my other advice to him was make sure you always have that one person that you can tell everything to. Make sure you have that one person that won't hesitate to pull you back and say, you've gone too far.
I call that your enabler. You need an enabler. Somebody that's okay with all the stupid shit you're going to do.
Of course.
That way, if you hit the ground, somebody calls 911, they get a hold of the enabler and here's what's going on. But
he sends me questions all the time and he'll say, well, this is the situation. What would you do? And then he'll reply back and he say, wait, not what would you do? What do you think I should do? Because what I would do would be something totally psycho. Mm-hmm. But what I would tell him to do would be something a little more pull back one or two steps. Mm-hmm. But I think if you see someone with talent, I think you're doing them an injustice if you don't tell them to give it everything they have. Absolutely. Give it absolutely everything. If you saw someone with, the talent to be an all-star in the NBA and you caught them in middle school, would you tell them to pull back and, think about this? No.
No, you never know.
You never know. And the chances are so small, but
how do you know it's not you? You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't know what's around the corner unless you go look. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so people will throw genetics out and say, well, I don't have good enough genetics. Well, you're 6'2", 185 pounds. You can't make that decision until you're like fucking 300 pounds. Right. Then you can tell me if you have the genetics or you don't, because look at other people that are your height. What do they weigh? You're not even walking towards the fucking corner to look around to be able to see. It's now we've all seen people that come into these sports and just jump to the top immediately. And those are very, very far outliers. Mm-hmm. And they make up such a minority of the people that are really out there. But now with social media, they're the ones that are going to be the most seen. Mm-hmm. So everybody thinks, well, that's what I have to be like. And it's like, well, okay, maybe that's what you think, powerlifting wise or whatever it is.
But how many of those guys are here today, gone tomorrow?
Exactly. But what I say is look at who's placing third and fourth.
Right.
All right, let's take this guy out of the equation. Let's take these three guys out of the equation. So say world's strongest man, take the four top guys out of the equation.
Right.
Could you possibly be there if you were that height and that weight and put in the same number of years? Could you be there taking those other four out? All right. That's the question that needs to be asked, because what they do is they'll look at Thor, they'll look at Brian, and they'll say, look, I'm not that fucking big. Mm-hmm. Okay, fucking take them out. Okay. Where do you fall, stature wise, out of the top 10, bone thickness and all that? Where do you fall in there? All right, because all that has to happen is kind of what happened last year.
Right.
And you're world's strongest man.
Right. Well, you look at Martins Licis. He has gained. He gained a.
Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from him at all in any way.
His progress over the last couple of years is it's freaky amazing, and he's gone all in. He's absolutely everything.
And he's still 100%. On an upward trajectory.
Right.
So who knows what he's going to bring next year?
Right. But you look at people like Thor and Brian Shaw. Both of them were basketball players by the way. So when they moved to the sport of strongman, they already had the idea of reviewing tape. Diet needs to be pretty good. Recovery is
total athlete
super
mindset.
Recovery is important. Playing with pain, like Terry Hollins, he's been to World's Strongest Man maybe more than anybody else, and just did a bodybuilding show a couple of weeks ago. Looked absolutely phenomenal. He's come to Cyprus and trained with me several times, and I had just gotten a message from someone that asked me on Instagram while he's in the gym if I ever trained when I was sore. And I'm going back to all the years of martial arts, and I remember fighting. I remember going into the fight, and every digit of every toe on my right foot was broke, and I still had to kick with my right foot, for the entire tournament. I never remember fighting when some things weren't extremely hurting. So when I moved into training in the gym, sore, okay. I mean, every athlete's sore, hurt. You just play. So I was talking with Terry Hollins, and people didn't realize that he came from a judo background. So you always played judo, hurt. Something always hurts. And then he went on to rugby. Something's always hurting. So when he made the transfer into strongman, pain, okay, we just expect that. Mm-hmm. And then I have, see guys online, my hamstrings are still sore. I shouldn't deadlift. My hamstrings are sore. I shouldn't go out there and do stones. Or, my shoulders are a little sore, muscular sore. I don't mean like totally screwed up and can't move kind of sore. But, all those guys, they're used to playing with pain. They're used to figuring out ways to, to fix it, to heal it. And as the sport has evolved, the emphasis on recovery methods, whether it's ice baths and, the level they've taken diet to, over the last several years is absolutely ridiculous. And the amateurs are picking up on this as well. But Eddie Hall goes to World's Strongest Man, and you get to take one person with you. He took his physical therapist. He paid something like $10,000 to have him there for the 2 weeks, just to work with him. Eddie Hall, a lot of people don't, and I talk with Eddie quite a bit. A lot of people don't realize what he gave up to do what he did, and he went and saw his physical therapist. It's called a physiotherapist in the UK. He saw him 7 days a week. So if tonight he trained, basically lower body, the next morning, first thing, he was at the physical therapist's office getting unscrewed up. So then if the next day he did upper body, that night he did upper body, the next morning he was getting his upper body unscrewed up 7 days a week for 18 months, 7 days a week. Hot baths, cold baths, hyperbaric chamber, 7 days a week. Not when you felt like it. Not like people say, I went to the chiropractor. I go to the chiropractor once a month. 7 days a week. That's an investment of going all in. So when it got to World's Strongest Man, he had to win. He had given more than anybody else out there. He had spent more money. He had put more time, more effort than anybody else out there. And he had to come away. There was no other option. He had to walk away with it.
Wait. All right, guys, if you've been, I had this stupid shit. All right, guys, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, select the notifications, but also keep in mind, we do have a website. It's elitefts.com. On our website, we put up 2 new articles every single day, 7 days a week. We also have training blogs that are updated daily, coaching blogs which are updated daily, archived history of over 1 million Q&As that are on the website. So check out our website. Also check out our Instagram, which is at elitefts, and my personal Instagram, which is at @underthebar, as we're always putting new content there as well. So check them all out because we have different content on all different channels.